Fallout Equestria Project Horizons by Somber. Chapter 1 Inception. Once upon a time, in the magical land of Equestria. War never changes. It had consumed our home, a war fought by foreign aggressors until great and terrible magics had been unleashed to burn all the world to ash and dust. Only our constant devotion to the princess had carried us through that terrible war, just as our unwavering faith in the Overmare maintained our continued survival within the earth. Trust in the Overmare. Obey the Overmare. The grating buzz of my alarm yanked me away from my sleep. I stuck my left foreleg out from under the blankets, away from my head, felt around for the end table next to the bed, found it, and proceeded to whack my pip-buck against the table until the right button was hit and the noise stopped. I groaned and smacked my lips, tasting the sour gunk in my mouth, before rolling onto my back and huffing softly. Good morning, Blackjack. Welcome to another thrilling day in Stable 99. I half crawled, half rolled, half fell out of bed, and gave myself a vigorous shake. Life in Stable 99 was routine, with any deviation punishable by the security mares. I had half an hour to wash, half an hour to eat, and half an hour to report to my duty station, the same as it had been every day since I'd gotten my cutie mark. Slowly I shuffled through the copious junk I'd accumulated. It was mostly recycled food chips and old drink bulbs, though I liked to pretend that some of the open bottles on the dresser were some sort of fermentation experiment, maybe a pet colonization by our future fungal overlords. Heh! A mare could dream. My horn glowed white as my magic lifted my uniform from one of the heaps. I gave it a test sniff. Ugh! Unacceptable. I tossed it back on its pile and sniffed for another. Yeah, this'd work. Trotting down to the showers, I passed the murals designed to inspire camaraderie and cooperation. At least, that's what I'd been constantly taught in classes. We are all the Overmare's foals, declared the caption of one picture of an abstract white unicorn hugging dozens of tiny little ponies in her hooves. Another showed one lone, weeping mare under the caption, Selfishness Separates. I trotted into the sector's communal bathroom, and immediately my ears perked to a familiar giggling. Walking past a stall, I glanced in at two mares employing an unauthorized and probably ineffective washing technique. According to the trading manual, behavior like that, in public spaces, was punishable by whipping and restriction to C-class rations. So it was probably understandable that the pair looked up with some trepidation when they spotted me. Oh, it's just Blackjack, the dappled mare, Pastels, said in relief before flushing and snapping at her partner. I swear you're trying to get us flogged. Fun, giggled the white mare, Misty Hooves, from the bakery, nuzzling her. Misty was a chronic repeat offender. I don't know if she liked the kiss of the whip or if there was something else wrong with her, or both. I sighed. In theory, I was supposed to discourage this kind of thing. However, it fucking sucked being the mayor who was supposed to discourage this kind of thing. You won't think so if it's Daisy doing the flogging, I commented, and instantly their smiles disappeared. I couldn't blame them. With the constant duty and honor bullshit, a little flank spank was one of the few reliable means of recreation, and a lot of security mayors got really enthusiastic about it. I stepped under the spray and immediately jerked. Hold! Yeah, heating talismans are really slow today, Misty said. Well, I said after a moment, go back to your quarters and finish up your fun. Make sure you're back in your beds by curfew. That's me, big badass security pony. The pair glanced nervously at each other and then quickly finished their showers. I wonder if we can do it in the atrium and not get caught, I heard Misty mutter to Pastels as the two trotted out. I rolled my eyes and shook my head. Some mares have all the luck. Not that they were the only two, or even the two worst. Half the ponies in the stable seemed to have at least one flavor of crazy. I supposed it was only inevitable when half your day was devoted to keeping this place going, and we had to keep it going. If we didn't, don't think about it. Stable 99 was all that was left. Every filly learned that as soon as they could read. The megaspells, unleashed across Equestria, had sterilized the surface. Radioactive death was all that waited us outside. So we kept the stable working. We kept order. We kept loyalty. Because at any moment, fuck, Blackjack, don't worry about another incident, I muttered softly. The Overmare protects. But I felt a gloomy specter rising inside me at the thought of the entire stable being in the hooves of a filly a year younger than me. There were exactly 500 jobs to be filled in Stable 99. 400 and something were covered by the mares like myself, who inherited our jobs from our mothers. My mom was security. I was security. When I had a daughter, she would be security. And so on and so on. In the rare event of a mare dying before she could breed, a lottery would be held for some other mare to produce an extra filly for the spot, because the population had to stay at 500. Every pony had to behave and follow the rules, otherwise there'd be an incident. Stable 99 couldn't take another incident. The bathroom alone showed the flickering lights from overtaxed generators and the water that couldn't settle on whether it wanted to be freezing or boiling. You couldn't think about it. All it would take was one thing to go wrong and we'd all die. One busted generator, one broken recycler, one accident, and we'd all be choking on our own unrecycled breath. Fuck, don't think about it, I said, trying to shove it from my mind. That was made ridiculously easy by Midnight trotting past me towards the atrium. Instantly, my ruby eyes popped wide at her cute flank and graceful tail. Black on black. Oh, she needed to be mine. Hey, Midnight! Midnight! Hey, hey! Wait up! I shouted as I tripped and raced to catch up with her. Of course, she didn't wait. She never did. Instead, she picked up her pace. Damn it, Midnight! No running in the halls! I shouted as I ran after her. What? I'm security. I'm allowed to break the rules when pursuing a fine flank. Unfortunately, there was a flash, and a pair of hoof cuffs materialized around my forehooves. Oh shit! I barely got out before rolling head over hoof. I glared around at the source. It could only be Daisy Marmalade. Excellent cunt block. Top notch. The pale earth pony mare and honey-colored unicorn both smiled at my predicament. No running in the halls, Blackjack, Daisy said, stepping out of the side hall she'd been lurking in. When Stable Tech made the stable, clearly they hadn't had mares of her size in mind. Her ears nearly brushed against the ceiling as she looked down at me with her snide little grin. Not even for pussy. Marmalade gave an echoing little snicker. Right, you got me, I said. I held up my hoof cuffs. So, don't you know the spell yourself? I thought all the security unicorns did. Marmalade does. Daisy taunted as she stepped over me, making her way towards the atrium stairs. The vapid unicorn gave a slack grin and nodded, and then both of them had a good laugh before they trotted away. I rose, glaring at their backs, before hobbling after the pair. All security unicorns were supposed to know a selection of spells for policing the stable. Me, I had telekinesis. And oh, did I mention telekinesis? I couldn't cuff or stun or do interrogation spells to save my life. All the practice I'd put in merely gave me a migraine. I'd have been better off being in maintenance. Wait, that would mean I'd be responsible for the stable. Strike that. Better I was in food prep. Nice, low responsibility in food prep. That was the life for me. But I was security, because Mom was security, because her mom had been security, all the way back to the legendary card trick, the one who'd carve security. We save ponies, above the entrance to the security level. Hooray for completely irrational expectations. I knew I'd never save 99. I couldn't even get out of these hoof cuffs. Whoa, pity party, table for one. Or not. I didn't have any time for the poor me routine. Never played well. Nope, I just had to get out of these cuffs, and I had an idea how. The huge atrium was the heart and soul of pony life in 99. Almost half the stable could fit in the room for large events, more if every pony was really friendly. Huge support pillars had been sculpted in the parody of tree trunks, and the support beams had been fashioned to resemble branches. That was the extent of trying to make 99 look like something outside. Besides, the effect was ruined by the huge banners of the Overmare smiling down at us, and all her stupid patriotic slogans of "Help the Overmare, help 99. Stability overall. I mean really, stability. The music piped in was half parade march and half hymn. Any wonder I tried to stay out of this place? There was also the fact that most ponies refused to look at me. They dropped their conversations, look aside, or leave. It didn't matter that I tried to be nice. The fact was that all I had to do was drop a name and they'd be hauled in for interrogations. I'd witnessed enough to know I didn't want to drop a name. Besides, I'd already tried it once. Never worked for the ponies who deserved it. I passed the cafeteria where ponies loaded bowls with green recycled algae slime, scooped recycled fungi cubes into trays, collected synthetic recycled carrot sticks and apple flakes into bowls, or heaped up stacks of green recycled grass chips, brown recycled hay chips, and white recycled cake chips upon their plates. All the food in 99 was recycled into more food. All the waste in 99 was recycled. We were recycled. And yes, even having lived here my entire life, I still found it easier to pretend that the machines just magically made the food poof into being. Still, despite being made out of recycled poo water, the chips were pretty tasty. You just had to not think about it. Midnight was talking to Rivets in textbook, and the black unicorn's eyes widened at the sight of me hobbling to her table. Mind if I join you? No? Great, I said as I set my hooves on the table before she could shoot me down. Hey Riv, hey Teach. The Earth Pony schoolmistress sniffed disdainfully at my intrusion. We were having a private conversation, textbook said sullenly as she glared at me. Rivets, an older gray Earth Pony, showed far more amusement at my predicament. Great, do I have a story to tell? Here I was, just minding my own business, hurrying to catch up with a particularly lovely mare, when those hoof cuffs appeared on me like magic. Can you believe it? I asked with a grin as I tapped them on the table. So there I was, pondering and bemoaning my fate, when I remembered a certain vision of an angelic equinety, whose magic far outshines my own, and whose kindness and generosity would surely compel her to free me from my predicament. I said, grinning ear to ear, as I fluttered my eyes at midnight. Blackjack, I'm a pit-buck technician, she began, which means you're intelligent, skilled, that you possess far more competence than a lowly security pony like myself, I said as she hesitated. I almost had her convinced. I'll pay you in oral sex, I blurted. Textbook turned the shade of a spoiled apple, and Rivets covered half her face as she chuckled. I'll talk to you tomorrow, Midnight said to Rivets as she trotted to another table. I'll be telling your mother about this, Textbook added to me before going to join Midnight. I groaned and pressed my face into my bound hooves. Rivets patted my shoulder. Oral sex, huh? What's the going rate on that? I'm an idiot, I muttered. Rivets chuckled, certainly not arguing.
I had no idea. I didn't think you were into mares, Rivets said with a smile, munching her grass chips. I shrugged. It's more the fact that she always tells me no. I glared down at the cuffs on my hooves, growled, and then bit the conjured metal. She always plays hard to get, I said around the mouthful of metal. Well, it's your time to waste. Her spot on the queue's up, though, so I really doubt she'll have time for you, she said matter-of-factly. Really? My eyes widened and then drooped along with the rest of my body. I slumped till my chin rested on the tabletop. Bummer. We all have our little trials, Rivet said with a sigh. I've got to get Duct Tape's Philly on the duty roster. She's taking over for her mom. She sighed. Hopefully she knows which end of a wrench goes on the nut. Duct Tape died? How? I gasped. She was one of the nicer ponies in maintenance. I frequently bumped flanks with her on C-shift. Though never actually talked to her, of course. After all, I was security, and she was scared to death of me. Rivet snorted in irritation. Don't you ever pay attention? She died a week ago. Tried servicing the Overmare's terminal and it blew up in her face. Power junction wasn't closed. But Scotch Tape doesn't even have her cutie mark yet, right? She's still in school, I pointed out, twisting my hooves errantly in the cuffs to try to free them. Does that matter? I've got 150 maintenance mares to manage, and I've got a hole in the C-shift, and she's got to fill it. Rivet said firmly, narrowing her eyes and pressing her lips together. I feel for the kid, really, but the stable takes first, last, and middle priority. She'll just have to get over it. Really? I thought it was Overmare first, last, and middle, I replied, enjoying a little smack talk. Normally, it would get a grin. The look on Rivet's face now, though, I'd never seen her look so angry in my life. My black and red striped mane itched terribly, and I just wished my hooves were free so I could scratch it. Rivet's groaned. Don't talk about the Overmare to me. She's been throwing all kinds of special work orders and studies my way. The little foal is demanding peak efficiency, and she's countermanding my work assignments to make damn sure it doesn't happen. She reached out into one of the many pockets on her utility barding and drew out a notepad. Last month she ordered the stable, recreation, broadcasters, and maintenance one overhauled, but then she collected every piece of scrap electronics and conductors for inventory and kept the entire terminal crew occupied with searching and cleaning the stable database. Maintenance 1 was the little closet of a utility space next to the stable mainframes and the massive stable tech hallway right outside the atrium. I sometimes used it for naps when I knew the Overmare was out. Did she say why? Do Overmares ever? Rivets countered with a snort. Her mother was bad enough. I sure didn't shed any tears when she died last year, but the little tyrant is going to. And she drew herself up short, realizing that even though I was the most irresponsible mare in security, I was in security. She coughed and then gave a little shrug. I'm just concerned about the stable. That's all. And that was the story of my life. No matter how friendly I was security. She wasn't. I enforced the Overmare's rules and punished those who didn't. I sighed, my ears drooping a little. Well, see you at the card game tonight? There was some considerable doubt in her eyes as she stared at me. She rose with a cool, "Of course, you're always welcome at the game." Not because I was actually welcome, but more because having me there would assuage fears that the game would be raided. After all, I was the only pony in security who liked associating with maintenance mares. After all, I was the only pony in security who liked associating with the maintenance mares after hours. It's an atmospheric maintenance 3 this time. Bring your bits. because I would be leaving with exactly as much as I came with, because I was tolerated, not wanted. Goddesses, why was my mane crawling thinking about the look she'd just given me? I looked at the cuffs on my hooves, feeling like there was something I was missing, then growled as I narrowed my eyes and bit them again.